What does transformation healing mean to you? What is the challenging that empower you to transform who you are today? Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday. Welcome to our Transformation Healing podcast. I'm your host, Riya Wang, the certified transformation healing coach and the spiritual teacher. In the past few years, I've been traveling around the world to learn and teaching how healing that can transform our lives. In this podcast show, I have interviewed my guests from all over the world, come to here to share their inspiration stories, wisdom, knowledge with all of you that can help you to implement this wonderful idea, tools into your daily life. Today, I have an amazing guest that I will be introducing him a little bit more before I say this. He is the expert of the mindfulness-based stress, help the people to release the stress. In this world now, especially this pandemic time, the stress is the main things we address about now today. How do you release your stress? Tom is the expert of this. So I would like invite the Tom come here to share how he is to be teaching stress release and mindfulness. Tom, welcome to our podcast.
Thank you, Riya. It's so nice to be with you and to be in your presence, in your deep, wise presence of health and healing. So it's just an honor to be chatting with you today and to be in relationship, talking about the things that can bring health and healing and balance to more people during these challenging times. So just delighted to be with you today.
Thank you, Tom. Before I always ask my guests, where you come from, Tom?
My gosh, where the heck do I come from? Where does any of us come from?
I like when I ask this question. Sometimes my guests say, "Are you asking me the physical where I come from, or you ask me with different dimensions?" I said, "Whatever you feel like, share with
Wonderful.
us."
It's existential questions, and in the here and now. I'm coming to you from Huntsville, Alabama. Moved here from Silicon Valley a year ago in a couple of days. Though I've been coming to this part of the world my whole life, and my whole family is here. My parents are aging and needing support, so it was great motivation to come here and be able to support them. But I've been living in Los Gatos, Silicon Valley for the last 18 years prior to our move from California. And so that's a little bit of the physical where I'm coming from.
Wow, I'm living in California now. I hope someday you come back visit us soon.
Absolutely. California is my home, and it's been a wonderful place to live and to just be in this kind of really wonderful part of the world where so many beautiful people, so many wise people, so many wonderful teachers who have certainly helped me in my journey of health and healing. And so that's what I'll miss most about being physically living in California, but at least we can connect via Zoom and glean the wisdom virtually.
Absolutely, yes. So we talk about the transformation healing. Tom, I would like to ask you some questions about that.
Sure, absolutely.
What does transformation healing mean to you? Because many times when I say, okay, I'm transformation healing coach, people will be asked, so what does transformation healing mean? Do you think everyone need a heal?
I think transformation in all of its different forms, speaks to that little voice inside of us. And healing can mean different things at different times in our life. I think most of us are grappling with perhaps not having all of our needs met as we were growing up in this culture of competition and of people just trying to do the best they can, but parents not having the greatest tools in helping raise their children to be the happiest, healthiest, most transformed people that they can be. So that, along with the inevitable stress and strain of finding your place in a complicated society, giving your voice, your skills, your talents, your aspirations to a particular field, putting food on the table, raising kids, and the inevitable, growing old, getting sick, and losing everything, as we all will someday. I think these are kernels of basic human suffering. And I think transformation for me is about meeting the present moment in a way that engenders greater peace, love, and harmony with the people that you're engaging with. But most importantly, meeting the present moment inside your heart and mind so that you're avoiding suffering needlessly. And this all starts and ends with mindfulness for me. Being in a more non-judgmental relationship with yourself and with the present moment to avoid stress and strain. It's not that you won't have it, but being more skillful about navigating the inevitable stress and strain is what interests me most.
I thank you for sharing that. I think sometimes I have a conversation with some people. They say, I don't judge other people, but I'm so hard on myself. We always say, if you are so hard on yourself, you're criticizing yourself, then we're the mirror of others, right? So that can create a lot of stress and create a lot of things, chaos around us.
I couldn't agree more. I think so. It's like when we start to practice meditation and understanding our minds, we come face to face with that critical voice inside. And it might sound like an older sister or an authoritarian parent, or it could be just our voice inside that's become quite harsh. And many people will say, like, they start to pull these little narratives of self-talk apart, and they get clear on how harsh and brutal they are to themselves. And they realize, I never, ever talk to anybody in the outside world the way I talk to myself inside. Harsh, brutal, mean, woulda, shoulda, coulda, can't believe that you screwed up like that, blah, blah, blah. And that really does create microaggressions inside, boosting our fight, flight, freeze response, and exacerbating our pain in the present moment.
Yes, absolutely. I think, I don't know other people, but I know that I go through with that sometimes, So here is another question I would like to ask you, Tom. So, you come here to share your wisdom with all of us. Then before you share your wisdom with all of this, then what is big challenge in your life that you have to deal with that also transformed who you are today?
Well, it's a great question, and I appreciate you sharing about wisdom. And I part of this practice of mine, if I'm able to kind of tap into innate wisdom, which I think we all have, definitely been inspired by so many wonderful teachers that have helped me get out of my head and more into my heart, where I think the most crystal clear, expansive, and beautiful wisdom lies. That's been a journey of, for me, as a Western man with a certain upbringing. But I have to say, my passion for being in this space of sharing the wisdom with others and of meeting other people's pain is definitely informed by my struggles in life. Well, you go more like 15 years ago of dealing with clinical burnout from a very challenging career in mental health, of working with severely at-risk young people. And my physical challenges manifested in hypertension and in heart arrhythmia and swallowing problems. And I could tell in that moment I needed to find answers because I wasn't feeling well. It actually was a bit existential. I felt that if I kept in that path, I probably would have been in really bad shape. And so I took the mindfulness-based stress reduction course, an 8-week course, and basically gave me the hows of mindfulness meditation practices. And I was able to sleep again. That was a big win for me because I had a lot of struggle sleeping. And then learned about other things with self-inquiry and found out how I was driving myself with too many to-dos, was always rushing, was really never in the present moment. So I got to understand what living in the present moment was like, and that this kind of started to inform everything in my life. And over, studying and practicing and teaching and learning how to teach and continuing to practice and practice and practice, I just stand here today as somebody who's just continuing to be a simple practitioner and awaken in different ways. And it's a lifelong practice, but it's the best game in town if people wish to join me on getting in touch with their own suffering and trying these tools on for themselves.
I think you addressed the two big things in this world. And number one big things people deal with, struggling with, have good sleep, right?
Yes.
It is a night. I have the people tell me I cannot sleep. My night is my mind is just a million miles away. Just keep running, no matter what I do. So I said, just couldn't sleep. So when people deal with that, it's a night. I know a lot of people take a medication for sleep, a pill medication. Maybe I will be talk a little bit of the things we wanted to address. What do you think? Is there really have a natural way to help people go to sleep without take medication?
Absolutely. If I can do it, anyone can do it. And it all starts and ends with training the mind, conditioning the mind to be out of the incessant rumination that we all get into. The mind needs to be sticky with these things that are challenging for us, that we're having trouble with, that we're judging ourselves about, particularly when things are very stressful at work or within family dynamics. The mind is just on a loop, and it's mostly repetitive and it's mostly negative, especially at 3 a.m. So mindfulness-based stress reduction practices help you see that and then give you the tools to go, oh, there's my mind in the future, in the past, fantasies, whatever. But I really need to put in, I want to get 8 hours of sleep here. Instead of like thinking about that meeting that you have that's so important the next day or whatever, anchor myself in the present moment. I'm going to count my breaths, or I'm going to do a body scan. And basically, you're not in those loops in the present moment, not negative loops, but you're in this different region of the brain that is focusing on the present moment. And then your body balances out, your mind relaxes. And it doesn't mean that it's just like done. You're going back and forth and back and forth and back and forth, but that is the practice. Softening, settling into the present moment, and then falling asleep. Sleep is the number one thing we need. It's before diet and exercise. This is really the most critical thing to figure out how to do better.
Yes, thank you. Thank you for sharing that. And also, you said that when always have the chatty in behind our minds, like you should do this, you need to do that. Who's the voice in there? Everybody have that voice. Who's the voice in there? Then how do we say, do you already work with that voice? Or you say, shut up, don't tell me anything anymore. But sometimes when we say we push out or we're fighting with something, say shut up with something, that voice is getting more louder. Oh, yeah. So when you have all of that chatting, so what is the simple things I would like you can teaching the people who's listening here, what is the simple things they can do, really make that voice is a little bit quiet, or let that voice go to sleep.
I like that. I like your, framing it as just a little bit softer, a little bit nicer. I think it's, we trip ourselves up when we start to think around practicing mindfulness, meditation, mind training, that we need to really grab hold of this thinking mind and smash it, quash it, stop it. And that's just one of the misconceptions I love sharing about on the early parts of training. It's not about stopping the mind, because the mind thinks like the lungs breathe and the heart beats. It's the mind's job to think. So we don't want to condemn, but we want to be in a non-judgmental relationship with the mind thinking. And it's like training a puppy. We don't want to be harsh and judgmental, but we just want to watch where it goes. And then we want to just take it by the hand or by the shoulder and just lead it back to this one breath, or this one body sensation, or this one sound, or this one sip of tea, one bite of food. Informal meditation and formal meditation, being in relationship with the mind, and then being in relationship with the present moment. And on a brain science level, we're moving from that default network, agitated and contracted and fight, flight, freeze, the limbic part of the brain, default network, into the task positive network of the mind, present moment, focused, settling. And that's the practice. Leaving and returning. And I like to say it's not about the leaving, it's about the returning. And gentle, back and forth. And each time we come back, we're strengthening our effectiveness at staying in the present moment, resting in awareness, and then dealing with other things that are coming up in a more compassionate way. The hard emotions, the challenging things from our past, pain in the body. And these modalities in mindfulness based stress reduction, we're given all the tools to work with those things.
If there have a few tools, can you summarize it? What are the three big tools that you can help the people with that?
Three big truths?
Three big tools. I was big truths.
Oh, well, I tell you, you don't believe everything you think.
I like what you said, that one. Don't believe everything you think, because most of the stress is come from when people think I should do this. Maybe they say that it's automatic thinking that way, right? Oh, I love it. That's one word. Don't believe what you think.
It's a great bumper sticker. The more we practice, just the more we soften around reactivity. The mind telling us we have to do this, we have to send this email, we have to respond immediately. The person in traffic, the rude person in this store, or whatever. The more we practice, I would say the more we're able to pull the length in between the stimulus and the response. So that's wisdom. That's beautiful wisdom. If we can respond versus react, we're living happier and more skillfully in the present moment. And then the other piece is around compassion. And the more we practice being in a better relationship with this big thing up here, this big troublemaker, we drop into our hearts and we realize that this common humanity, the same challenges that you have, I have, every human being on the planet is struggling in one way or another. And we all want the same thing. We all just want to be happy. And we don't know whether we're going to leave tomorrow or in 10 days or 10 years or whatever. So That's the other biggie. You're developing compassion for yourself and for others, and that's a huge game changer. We can be with ourselves and others in a more compassionate way. We're going to be a happier person. Mammals, we need to be connected, and we're so disconnected. So that's a beautiful thing that the practice opens up for you.
So beautiful. Thank you. You just shared the wisdom of don't believe whatever you think that's inside that you, not that whatever you think, the one you think that must be think, right?
Exactly. Yeah. I like this.
Yes, it's have a big compassion for your mind. Don't criticize your mind. Don't criticize yourself. Have more compassion for your heart, for who you are. That's come to next one. Maybe I add one more for there. Tom, is acceptance. Acceptance, what it is happens. When things happen, I think most people get stressed is when things happen, they get freaking out, then always say, why this happened? They go to that why, instead say, okay, since already happened, what is next?
Beautiful. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's a game changer as well. The meeting the reality about the present moment versus making up a story that increases your suffering. I shouldn't be having this diagnosis. My face shouldn't be changing because I'm getting old. My child shouldn't be acting this way. Really? That's kind of fighting with the reality of the present moment. And as you just beautifully shared, acceptance is a game changer.
Many times I think many times the stress also comes from expectation. We expect something, then forgot what is accepted, what it is. But always try to changing. If that's changing something, maybe it's better, right? So instead accept what is already happened and move forward with that situation.
I love that. I'm thinking of, with your share there, that this speaks to present moment awareness. Oftentimes our minds, if we're believing what our minds are saying, we're tied up in believing that, if we get the big job, if we get the nice car, if we get the perfect mate, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, that life will then be better. The weekend, the vacation, the $1 million lottery ticket, whatever. And so these practices help us be out of the virtual reality of the future, the if only mind, if only this happened, and into the reality of the present moment. And then really understanding that there's nothing on the outside that'll give us lasting peace and happiness. We have to cultivate peace, happiness, acceptance, love on the inside. It's an inside game.
Yes, I think when you talk about this, I think my mind is I was feel like, okay, it sounds like my body is sitting here, then I should do this, I should do that. It's like everything started racing in the mind, in the sky, then big, huge, come down to the body. But the body really at this moment only need to take a sip of the water. That's what we need. That is present moment. Instead, let the mind running around all over, brought the stress come to our body.
Right. Yeah, things get very simple, and our mind will tell us that that's a problem too. It shouldn't be this simple.
Yes, I love what you talk about. Yes. Well, time passed by so fast. This is the end of our podcast. I think we can keep going with this. I know we both is passionate about how to help the people to reduce the stress, living the life is better and with more joy than changing your mindset. But today, I wanted to thank you, bring the three the bigger tips for people. Don't trust your mind. What do you think? Sometimes when you cut off with that stress, then have big compassions, right? Acceptance, all of this wonderful tool. I want whoever who is listening here. So be aware, use that tool every day in your life. That small things change will be shift big in your life. So thank you, Tom. Before we leave, tell us a little bit how people can find you. And also, I know you're running a lot of mindfulness meditation online. So I went to one of yours. That is a wonderful place, and also that is free to the invite, right? It's benefits. I was thinking you said you did that for many years. Wow, you really put so many times and your heart, your knowledge in there to help people. So tell us a little bit more how people can find you.
Thank you so much, Riya. It's just been an honor to be in this space and to give back in the way that I've been given by so many, beautiful teachers in so many different ways. And so I have a weekly sitting at 10 o'clock Pacific time. Anybody who's interested in joining that sitting, sort of past students and others that just come together for a 45-minute little bit of wisdom, little bit of sharing, little bit of practicing mindfulness-based stress reduction every Sunday, 10 o'clock. And people are interested in learning more about me. My website is clubmindful.com. And on Facebook, Club Mindful Huntsville. You can find out more about me there. And I'm offering classes at the Los Gatos Adult Recreation Center via Zoom. And of course, here in Huntsville, Alabama, doing a lot of work with individuals and community classes and working in hospitals and corporations as well. As for the young people need it so much. So looking to give these tools to students in the local community.
That's wonderful. You did many things that to help the people. So if you are listening here, also you can see on this podcast, we have Tom's information, how to find Tom with his phone number, email address, and Tom, if later on you can drop the link, if that's okay with you, for people to join you, what is the best way you like people to contact you, then you can drop all of that information under this video. Thank you so much for coming here today.
Riya, such a pleasure. Just so appreciate all the work that you are doing. And it's wonderful to have spoken with you and your audience today.
Thank you. So if you are listening in this podcast, if you also have the stories you like to share with the world, you know where to find me. Thank you, everybody. I will see you